What's up, gamers? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day today. So recently, Nintendo just unveiled the Nintendo Switch 2, and honestly, it looked pretty good from the Direct. There were a couple things I was apprehensive on, and the price of the system itself is a little bit on the high end of what I would be willing to tolerate, but I don't think it's anything too outrageous, and overall, I think it managed to sell me on it. But after the Direct, I was very quickly unsold on the thing when I saw the price for Mario Kart World. For a digital copy of the game, it is going to be $80 fucking dollars.
You ready for another one?
Oh, and if you want a physical copy of the game, that's gonna run you $90. What? Has Nintendo lost their goddamn mind? I mean, the new Mario Kart looks fun and all, but there is no fucking way I am paying that much for a video game. And then there was just some other bad news, like needing to pay for next-gen upgrades, game chat being locked behind a subscription, the battery life being only about 60% of what it was on the Switch 1, which already wasn't great. About 100 or so backwards compatible Switch titles just flat out don't work, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to why. Needless to say that public perception around the Switch 2 is overwhelmingly negative, and rightfully so. But despite that, we've always got to have fucking contrarians coming to the defense of every single stupid design decision. I'm not paying $80 or $90 for Nintendo games. Fuck you. Wait a minute, fucking J-Dub posted this? I gotta say, that is a rare fucking W from this dude. I'm used to J-Dub spouting out utter nonsense, but this one actually makes sense. And yet somehow somebody managed to find an issue with it.
You may not, but then you won't be gaming for long. Games in the 80s and 90s were $50 to $60. The equivalent today is over double that. Prices haven't changed in decades. It was due to happen eventually.
Oh my god. I saw this exact same fucking argument when people were arguing in defense of game prices being raised to $70 from $60, and honestly, it's just as retarded now. Games in the 80s and 90s came on these big, bulky cartridges that had a lot of expensive hardware inside of them. And while technically the Switch 2 does use cartridges, they're a lot cheaper to manufacture than they were back in the 80s and 90s. And on top of that, most people are buying their games digitally anyways, which digital copies do not have a manufacturing cost. Versus like the 80s and 90s where the cartridge alone would cost like 10 to 20 bucks a pop. And then of course you also have to pay for shipping costs as well as a cut to all their retail partners, which you don't have to worry about with digital games. So as far as the digital price is concerned, there is no fucking reason for it to be raised to $80. As for physical being more, well, I've got a bit of a confession to make. I've been saying for years that digital games should be cheaper than physical because there is no manufacturing and shipping involved, and I'm guessing a finger on a monkey's paw curled somewhere because technically digital here is cheaper than physical, but it's still a massive downgrade because it's a price raise across the board. And for what, might I ask? I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm still pissed that game prices were raised from $60 to $70 a couple years ago. All the while, the quality of the games themselves haven't really improved, and now Nintendo was bumping them up to $80 and $90, which there's no fucking way in hell I'm accepting that. I swear to God, if Metroid Prime 4 ends up being $80, I am gonna be so pissed. Mario Kart World is $79.99. I wonder if the tariffs have anything to do with this, or if Nintendo actually thought this was a good idea. This whole claim about tariffs is something I've been seeing floating around a bit, so I'm just gonna dispel this right now. The tariffs are not the reason that the prices are this high. First of all, tariffs don't apply to digital goods, so there is no reason for the digital version of Mario Kart World to be $80. Second of all, if it really was the tariffs that the US was imposing on other countries, then we would only see price increases in the US, but we're also seeing similar price increases in other markets like Europe and Asia. So no, this has nothing to do with tariffs, it's just Nintendo being greedy, plain and simple. But of course somebody had to reply to this tweet trying to run excuses for Nintendo.
Well, this is the map, so of course they had to. This game probably was expensive to make.
Yeah, bro, this game was probably expensive to make because it's open world, and that's why they increased the price to $80, because, you know, there's never been any open world games out there that have not raised the price to $80 and instead just sold for a standard $60 or $70, you know, that's just completely unheard of, man. Like, fucking dumbass. If Nintendo wanted to price this game at $60, they could have easily done so and still made a metric fuck ton of money off this game.
Everyone thought Tears of the Kingdom for $70 was a good idea. You all signed off on this with your wallet.
Absolutely fucking not. First of all, I distinctly remember a lot of people giving Nintendo pushback for charging $70 for Tears of the Kingdom. Second of all, it's a completely different situation because while Tears of the Kingdom did jack up the price from $60 to $70, and while it still sucked, the difference then is that Nintendo was simply bringing their pricing into line with the rest of the industry, which, again, I'm not really a huge fan of, but that was what the industry standard had been for a couple years at that point. In this case, however, Nintendo is setting a completely new precedent by raising the prices to $80 for digital games and $90 for physical games. And unless this completely backfires on Nintendo in a massive way, you can bet your ass that other companies watching this are going to follow suit soon afterwards. Like, do you really think that companies as greedy as Activision or EA wouldn't jump on the opportunity to upcharge their customers even more than they already are? Really, I think the only thing that's held them back is fear of backlash over price increases, but now that Nintendo's letting the genie out of the bottle, I'm sure it's a lot easier to jump on that train as soon as it starts moving. And I, for one, am against that. Which is why I'm going to encourage people not to buy Mario Kart World at this price tag, or if you are gonna get it, then at least get it through the bundle where it's only $50 more than the price of the console, because $80 or even $90 for a new game is just outrageous, and I will be pissed if that ends up becoming industry standard. Need Switch 2 to underperform, so Nintendo is forced to slice this $80 price tag bullshit.
Or maybe don't buy the games that cost 80 euros. The price of the console is fine, just don't buy games with that price tag.
Okay, but here's the problem with that. How do we know Nintendo isn't going to keep charging $80? I mean, sure, not every launch game is going to be $80. So far, I've only been able to confirm that Mario Kart World will be that high. But I mean, if you have an ounce of intuition, it's pretty obvious what Nintendo is doing. They're testing the waters, and Mario Kart is very popular. Now, if it ends up backfiring on Nintendo, then yeah, they'll probably just stop doing $80 games and go back down to like 60 or 70. But if Mario Kart World ends up being successful despite the $80 price tag, then they're gonna take that as a green light to charge $80 for more of their games going forward. So, if you decide to buy a Switch 2 with the intent of not buying any of the $80 games, only for Nintendo to charge $80 for all their games going forward, then you kinda just wasted your money. Needing a Nintendo Online account for chat is nasty.
The only way to play online is paying for it. Why would you want the chat feature if you don't play online?
Oh, I don't fucking know. Maybe if you and your homies are all playing separate single-player games but still want to chat with each other. I mean, for fuck's sake, I do that with Discord on PC all the damn time. And on top of that, I just want to say that having to pay a subscription fee for online multiplayer on a console you already paid for, on games you already paid for, using internet that you already paid for, is a straight-up fucking scam, and I don't understand why console players defend that shit at all. Neither online multiplayer nor game chat should be locked behind an arbitrary subscription service. That shit is just unnecessary and anti-consumer.
In the wake of today's Switch news, I am once again screaming this from the rooftops. A $79.99 game in the big 2025 is still worlds cheaper than games were back in the day.
That's because back in the day, every copy of the game required an expensive-ass cartridge to hold it. That's not the case in the world of digital distribution, where you can create as many copies as you want for literally no additional cost. I mean, there's a reason why game prices back in the day lowered significantly when we switched away from cartridges to discs. And I know someone's gonna bring up more inflation. To which I say, just because the prices of everything has been increasing doesn't mean that people's wages have also been increasing. And on top of that, the fact that needs such as groceries and rent have been increasing in price means that people are spending more of their money on that, meaning they have less money to spend on entertainment products like video games, which means raising video game prices during this time especially is going to price out a lot of people. And this is especially true when you consider that Nintendo Nintendo is usually catered towards very casual players. Meaning the only people that aren't going to be turned off by these high prices are diehard Nintendo fans and people that just don't have any real information on the subject.
Notice how games like Mario Kart don't have the game key card section at the bottom. This is clearly for games like Hogwarts Legacy, for example, which are too big to fit on a game cart. Y'all are fear-mongering for nothing.
Oh yeah, that's another thing plaguing the Switch too. There are some quote-unquote physical games where the cartridge doesn't actually have the game on it, and it's literally just a key for you to be able to download the digital version. Now, I will say that there have been a lot of people acting like every physical game on the Switch 2 is going to be like this when that's just not true. But the issue here is that physical games on the Switch 2 are being priced higher than digital games are. But the problem is that some of these physical games are not actually physical games. Meaning, you're literally getting charged more money for less product. And if you're not going to actually have the game on the cartridge, then what the fuck is even the point of doing this dumbass physical release in the first place? Just make it a digital-only release if you're not going to put it on the damn cartridge.
Nintendo Switch 2's $450 price point was likely influenced by Donald Trump's trade tariffs, experts say.
That's right, guys. It is entirely Donald Trump's tariffs that are causing the Switch 2 to be higher priced, which is totally why the same price increases are also happening in Europe and Asia, where the Trump tariffs are not affecting anything, and why it's also increasing the price of digital games, which tariffs legally do not affect. The blame here is on Nintendo, and only Nintendo. I mean, this is the same company that tried to sell you fucking cardboard last generation. And I just realized I haven't even gotten to the PlayStation fanboys yet. Now you might be wondering, wait, PlayStation fanboys? I thought we were talking about the Switch 2. What the fuck did they have to do with any of this? Well, that was my first question too, but apparently several PlayStation fanboys decided to take a look at the Switch 2 and blame it on Xbox? No, I'm not even fucking joking.
Xbox goes third party immediately after we get PS5 Pro for $700, Switch 2 for $500 with $90 physicals. But how does it affect you that more people can play Xbox games?
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
I'm sorry, what the actual fuck are you babbling about? Microsoft's decision to port their games to other platforms has absolutely nothing to do with Nintendo's decision to raise the price of their console and their games. It has nothing to do with Sony's decision to price the PS5 Pro the way they did. I mean, this is Nintendo, company that charges a subscription fee for online multiplayer, locks game chat behind that subscription service, makes it so that the only way to get their retro games is through that subscription service instead of giving the option to buy them individually. The same company that upcharged Tears of the Kingdom to $70 despite it running at like 640p 20 FPS. The same company that sold you fucking cardboard. But nah, Nintendo making pricing decisions that fuck over their customers, and even Sony making pricing decisions that fuck over their customers, somehow that's Xbox's fault in this dude's mind. How? I have no fucking clue.
Bro, the Switch 2 upgrades is $20? LMFAO, and y'all had the nerve to shit on PlayStation over $10.
You say that like I can't shit on both. But yeah, it's absolutely fucking retarded that they are charging for next-gen upgrades. If I already own the game and I buy the more powerful hardware, I should be able to take advantage of the extra power of the hardware. Like, imagine if I decided to upgrade my PC. Maybe I replace my 4070 Super with an RTX 5090. But then when I open up my games and try to bump up the graphics and performance settings to take advantage of my improved hardware, the game said, fuck you, pay us a fee or you won't be able to use the hardware that you already shelled out money for. I mean, PC does it for free, Xbox does it for free, there's no fucking reason why Nintendo couldn't do it for free. It's not like the architecture or the operating system are that different from the Switch 1, and on top of that, this isn't like a massive overhaul or anything. It's literally just a bumping up some graphics and performance settings. I mean, I suppose you could make an argument for Mario Party Jamboree's upgrade, since that one actually comes with a bunch of new minigames that take advantage of the new gimmicks of the hardware, but the rest is just ridiculous. And saying how PlayStation did it as well does not make it any more acceptable. It was dumb when PlayStation did it, and it's dumb that Nintendo was doing it.
When the Switch 2 outsells the Xbox Series XS in a year's time on the market, we can revisit how exclusives matter, lol. Imagine Microsoft getting a From Software exclusive game for Xbox and the numbers it'd do.
Oh, would you look at that? It's Crap Gamer, the Xbox fanboy turned PlayStation fanboy turned Xbox fanboy, and I guess he turned PlayStation fanboy again. So, you know, I guess this dude really just can't
Keep that same energy.
Also, considering that Nintendo is spitting in the face of their customers by charging $80 to $90 for those quote-unquote exclusives, you know, Nintendo's definitely gonna have their work cut out for them putting those exclusives to work to sell consoles. I mean, again, an example I'll always point to is the Wii U. It had plenty of really good exclusives, and yet it completely bombed. And that's because the platform is shit, and if Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be defined by games costing more than ever before, then yeah, it's going to fucking bomb. Well, either that or I'm really underestimating what Nintendo fanboys are capable of.
Today proved that the people yapping about PlayStation being anti-consumer didn't actually know what that word meant.
Yes, we fucking do. I mean, just because Nintendo is being anti-consumer right now doesn't mean PlayStation hasn't been. I mean, even if I do think that charging $80 to $90 for new games is a fucking ripoff, that doesn't change the fact that things like the PS5 Pro are a ripoff, or that increasing the price for online multiplayer is also a ripoff. Like, do you want me to turn my ire back on PlayStation? Because I gladly will. Honestly, you should be grateful that I'm more focused on Nintendo right now. But no, just because one company is being anti-consumer does not justify other companies being anti-consumer. And yeah, that's about all the salty tweets I have for this video, so I guess the key takeaway here is that everything surrounding the Switch 2 is just painting a really terrible picture, and you shouldn't defend these terrible decisions that Nintendo has been making. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more, and tell me what you think of the Switch 2. Anyways, that's it. Peace!